Shalom, shalom. Just give me 1 second here. Cool. All right, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into 2nd Esdras, the 10th chapter. I believe the day before yesterday, I went into 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter, and that chapter ended with it pretty much continues into the 10th chapter. And in 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter, Ezra basically is in this field that the angel Uriel told him to go, and he sees this woman who who comes, he sees her mourning and bewailing, and so on and so forth. And so he goes to her and asks her what's the problem, why is she mourning like that. So we're going to continue through in 2nd Esdras chapter 10, and Lord willing, this will be edifying to the elect. So this is 2nd Esdras chapter 10 verse 1. It says, and it came to pass that when my son, now this is the woman from chapter 9 at the end, speaking to Ezra, because he had asked her what was the problem, why was she mourning. And it came to pass when my son entered into his chamber, his wedding chamber, he fell down and died. Then we all overthrew the lights, and all my neighbors rose up to comfort me. So I took my rest onto the second day at night. And it came to pass when they had all left off to comfort me, to the end I might be quiet. Then then rose I up by night and fled, and came hither into this field, as thou seest. So, after her son died, they, people came to, comfort her. And for a couple of days that worked. But then after that, the grief was just too much. So she fled in the night when nobody was aware and came here into this field. Verse 4, and I do now purpose not to return into the city, but here to stay, and neither to eat nor drink, but continually to mourn and to fast until I die. Then left I the meditations wherein I was, and spake to her in anger. So this is Ezra, right? After hearing what the woman said, Ezra left off from his thoughts, right? Because he was, we were going into in chapter 9 what he was meditating on. But when he saw this woman, he stopped meditating on that and he came to her. And after hearing why she was there, he says that then left I the meditations where I was, or wherein I was, and spake to her in anger. So Ezra got mad when he heard what her reasoning was. And this is what he said. Verse 6, thou foolish woman, above all other, seest thou not our mourning and what happeneth unto us? Because remember that at this time, Ezra is in the, they're in Babylon right now. Okay. And when you actually go, let's go pull up 2nd Esdras, the 3rd chapter. All right, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 3, verse 1. It says, in the 30th year after the ruin of the city, right? Of the ruin of what city? Babylon, Slakia, Jerusalem. It says, I was in Babylon and lay troubled upon my bed, and my thoughts came up over my heart. For I saw the desolation of Sion, and the wealth of them that dwelt at Babylon. And my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High, and said. So Ezra is in Babylon, and he as he said, he saw the desolation of Sion. And this is when the Babylonians came and destroyed Jerusalem in 586 BC, and they burnt the temple with the law, and they committed all these atrocities after they laid siege to Jerusalem, and they ended up taking us over. So when they took us over, the majority of us went as captives into Babylon. Daniel, the 3 holy children, all of them, Ezekiel. They were all contemporaries, and they were captives in Babylon. Okay, so Ezra here, when he says to this woman, "Seest not thou our mourning, and what happeneth unto us?" He's basically saying, "Don't you see what's going on? Don't you see that our Jerusalem has been destroyed, and we're captives under these Babylonians? And you gonna come and complain about this?" In essence, that's his sentiment. That's why he's so mad. So it says, verse 6, "Thou foolish woman, above all other, seest thou not our mourning, and what happeneth unto us? How that Sion, our mother, is full of all heaviness, and much humbled, mourning very sore." Which, let's get a quick precept on that. And why were they mourning? Because Jerusalem had been pretty much destroyed, taken over, and we were sent captives into Babylon. This is, I believe, Psalms 137. All right, yep, Psalms 137, verse 1. It says, "By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion." Right? Verse 2, "We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, Sing us one of the songs of Zion." So historically, this actually happened when the Babylonians, led by Nebuchadnezzar, right, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, came and besieged Jerusalem and destroyed it and took us captive. This is why when the Persians came into power, Cyrus gave us the decree to go back and rebuild the temple, which was completed under the reign of Darius. And then Nehemiah went back to oversee the rebuilding of the walls, because you had the temple, but you also had the walls, right, of Jerusalem. So going back, 2nd Esdras chapter 10, verse 8, it says, "And now, seeing we all mourn and are sad, for we are all in heaviness, art thou grieved for one son?" So you doing all this over one son. What about us? Our whole nation, look at the condition we're in. It says, "For ask the earth, and she shall tell thee, that it is she which ought to mourn for the fall of so many that grow upon her." And those are talking of the so many that grow upon her are man, right? Mankind, quote unquote. It says, "For out of her came all at the first, and out of her shall all others come." Yeah, because man was made of the earth, and man was made to dwell on the earth. So those that lived in the past were on the earth, and those that are going to live in the future are going to what? Come from the earth. It says, "And behold, they walk almost all into destruction, and a multitude of them is utterly rooted out." So he's saying, you're complaining about your one son. Well, what about the earth with all of her children that die in mass? What about her? Verse 11, it says, "Who then should make more mourning than she?" Right? If you want to go into mourning about losing a child, who should be mourning more, you or the earth? Right? It says, "Who then should make more mourning than she that hath lost so great a multitude? And not thou which art sorry but for one." So you hear losing your mind over one. What about the earth that loses so many people? It says, because Ezra is personifying the earth, likening it onto like a woman that has children. It says, but if thou sayest unto me, my lamentation is not like the earth's, because I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth with pains and bear with sorrows. But the earth not so. For the multitude present in it, according to the course of the earth, is gone as it came. Right? So basically, if you're saying that Ezra's speaking to the woman, and he's saying, if you're going to tell me that your loss of your son is not the same as the earth losing, its fruit, right? It losing its the people on it, because that's the course of the earth, right? That people are born, people die. Just as people leave, just as people die, people are born. So it's different from me, who had to go through all these pains to bring forth my one son, and now that he's gone, that's it. Verse 14, then say I unto you. So Ezra said, if you told me that, if that's what you're telling me, this is going to be my reply to you. Then say I unto thee, like as thou hast brought forth with labor, even so the earth also hath given her fruit, namely man, ever since the beginning unto him that made her. Right? So the same way you went through labor to bring forth your son, well, the earth also goes through labor to bring forth the inhabitants on it for the Most High. Now, therefore, keep thy sorrow to thyself, and bear with a good courage that which hath befallen thee. So don't act like it's the end of the world just because you lost one son. All right. So basically, hold your peace, deal with it. Verse 16, for if thou shalt acknowledge the determination of God to be just, right? If you acknowledge that the will of the Most High and his judgment is just, thou shalt both receive thy son in time and shalt be commended among women. So the Most High will have mercy on you and he'll give you another son. He says, go thy way then into the city to thy husband. And she said unto me, that will I not do. I will not go into the city, but here will I die. So I proceeded to speak further unto her and said, do not so, but be counseled by me. For how many are the adversities of Zion? Be comforted in regard to the sorrow of Jerusalem. Meaning, in essence, he's saying, look, don't come out here and try to commit suicide by fasting so that you die of starvation. All right. Look at the bigger picture here. Your case is not so bad. Think about the situation that Jerusalem is in. And in comparison, your situation in comparison to what Jerusalem is going through, your situation is not that bad. So at least take comfort in that, right? Take comfort in, you know what, I lost a son, but in comparison to what's going on here, it's not so bad. It says, verse 21, for thou seest that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar broken down, our temple destroyed. And that actually happened during the siege. They burnt the temple. That means all the scrolls, the laws, the writings in it was gone. And when you read in 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter, that's why Ezra asked for the Lord to put the Spirit on him so he can recollect all of the writings that we lost, the law, the records, all of it. And that's why the Lord told him to take those men that were, swift at writing, and they wrote all those books so that we could have the records today. Verse 22, it says, our psaltery is laid on the ground. Our song is put to silence. Our rejoicing is at an end. And the light of our candlestick is put out. The ark of our covenant is spoiled. Our holy things are defiled. And the name that is called upon us is almost profane. Now, the ark of the covenant was hidden by Jeremiah. And we know that Jeremiah was was alive and prophesying right before and into the time when the Babylonians came and besieged Jerusalem and destroyed us. So the ark, the Babylonians didn't get the Ark of the Covenant. The Lord instructed Jeremiah, and he was able to hide it in a cave. And then after that, it was gone. Nobody could find it anymore. And the account of that is in the book of 2nd Maccabees. Let me see. I think it's the 4th chapter. Maccabees 4. Okay, maybe it's 2nd Maccabees, the 2nd chapter. Yep. And the book of 2nd Maccabees, when you read it, it's, if I remember correctly, I believe it's the Jews in Judea writing to those that were in the Jews that were in Egypt, right? Yep. It says here, 2nd Maccabees chapter 1, the brethren, the Jews that be at Jerusalem and in the land of Judea, wish unto the brethren, the Jews that are throughout Egypt, health and peace. God be gracious unto you, and remember his covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his faithful servants. And then they go on to write more and more and more. So they were writing to the Israelites that were in Egypt. All right, this was during the time where the Greek Empire, right, when the Seleucid Empire and Ptolemaic Empire or dynasty were going back and forth, and we were sort of caught in the middle, right? So Second Maccabees, as per the first chapter and the first few verses, were the Jews that were in Jerusalem writing onto the Jews that were in Egypt, right? You had a large community of Israelites in Alexandria, Egypt, right, to exhort them and so on and so forth. So Second Maccabees chapter 2, it says, it is also found in the records that Jeremy, which is referring to Jeremiah, right? Jeremy or Jeremiah the prophet commanded them that were carried away to take of the fire as it hath been signified, and how that the prophet, having given them the law, charged them not to forget the commandments of the Lord, and that they should not err in their minds when they see images of silver and gold with their ornaments. When was this? This was when Israel was being taken captive to Babylon. Jeremiah was basically warning them to take heed when they get to Babylon, not to fall into those ways, right? Like he says, don't err in your minds when you see their images of silver and gold and ornaments and all of these things. And when you read the letter of Jeremiah, right? Which matter of fact, let me pull that up real quick. When you read the letter of Jeremiah, Jeremiah is basically let me get letter of Jeremiah. Yep. See, it says, a copy of an epistle which Jeremiah sent unto them which were to be led captives into Babylon by the king of the Babylonians, to certify them as it was commanded of him of God. So Jeremiah basically sent them a letter letting them know that, look, you're going to be taken captive to Babylon, but when you get there, don't fall prey to the things that are over there, right? And that's what it says right here, right? Because of the sins which ye have committed before God, ye shall be led away captives into Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Babylonians. So when ye come into Babylon, ye shall remain there many years for a long season, namely 7 generations, 70 years, right? And that's what Daniel refers to in Daniel, the 9th chapter, when he makes his supplication to the Lord and says, oh Lord, he said by books, right, has he been able to measure that we would be here for 70 years, and to us, unto you belongeth righteousness, unto us confusion of face, going into shamefacedness and all of that, right? So it says here, and after that I will bring you away peaceably from thence, right? From where? From Babylon. It says, now see ye in Babylon, or now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver and of gold and of wood, borne upon shoulders, borne meaning carried, which caused the nations to fear. So you're going to see the Babylonian gods over there. Beware therefore that ye in no wise be like to strangers. Don't be like the heathens. Neither be ye and of them, when ye see the multitude before them, behind them, and behind them, worshiping them. So when you get sent to Babylon, you're going to see their gods over there. But don't partake of them. Don't become like the heathens and worship their gods. Okay? So going on, it says here, back in Second Maccabees chapter 2, right? Dealing with Jeremiah, because I mentioned the ark that it was hidden. So the Babylonians didn't get access to it. So it says here, verse 3, and with other such speeches he exhorted them, and that's in the letter of Jeremiah, that the law should not depart from their hearts. It was also contained in the same writing that the prophet, being warned of God, commanded the tabernacle and the ark to go with him as he went forth into the mountain where Moses climbed up and saw the heritage of God. And when Jeremy came thither, he found an hollow cave, wherein he laid the tabernacle and the ark. and the altar of incense, and so stopped the door. And some of those that followed him came to mark the way, but they could not find it. Okay? And when Jeremy perceived, he blamed them, saying, as for that place, it shall be unknown until the time that God gather his people again together and receive them unto mercy. So he went to hide the ark, and those that came after came to mark the way so that they could find it, but they couldn't. When they came there, they couldn't find it. They couldn't find where the ark was hidden, because the Most High basically closed it up and just made it disappear. He took it somewhere. Okay, so when the Babylonians besieged Jerusalem, right, as we're reading here, as back in Second Esdras chapter 10 and 22, Ezra is going into it, right? He says, "Our psaltery is laid on the ground, our song is put to silence, our rejoicing is at an end, the light of our candlestick is put out, the ark of our covenant is spoiled." In essence, the ark, the Babylonians didn't get access to it. Okay, it was hidden by Jeremiah. It says, "Our holy things are defiled, and the name that is called upon us is almost profaned. Our children are put to shame. Our priests are burnt. Our Levites are gone into captivity. Our virgins are defiled. Our wives ravished." Yeah, because when the Babylonians came, they killed people, they raped people, they burnt, they besieged Jerusalem. Our righteous men carried away, right? Daniel, Ezekiel, the three holy children, and many others. Our little ones destroyed. Our young men are brought in bondage, and our strong men are become weak. And which is the greatest of all, the seal of Zion hath now lost her honor, for she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us. Now, what's a seal, right? When you think of a seal, you look at like a letter, and then you put a seal on it to keep the letter closed. But the seal would have like a symbol or some signature that would show who authorized it, right? Who sealed it, and the that would hold credibility, right? If the king used his ring, right, to stamp a seal, you would know that this was from the king. So it's held in high esteem, right? Now, say the king, lost his rulership or whatever, that seal would lose honor. It wouldn't be regarded as high esteem anymore, right? So we lost our seal because we were taken down. We were brought our honor, our esteem, right? We weren't esteemed as we once were because we were now brought into captivity, right? It says, "For she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us." And therefore, and remember, Ezra is still talking to the woman that he sees in the field right now. "And therefore shake off thy great heaviness, and put away the multitude of sorrows, that the mighty may be merciful unto thee," again, which is the Most High. Stop crying so that the Most High might have mercy on you. "And the highest shall give thee rest and ease from thy labor. And it came to pass, while I was talking with her, behold, her face upon a sudden shined exceedingly, and her countenance glistered, so that I was afraid of her, and mused what it might be." Mused, going into, he thought, he was in astonishment. He was wondering in his mind, what does this mean? Like, oh shoot, what the hell is going on, right? Because imagine you're talking to this woman, and she's telling you why she's here, and she's mourning, and then all of a sudden, this woman you're talking to, is her face just starts shining, you know, and her countenance is glistening. You're like, what the hell is going on? Verse 26, "And behold, suddenly she made a great cry, very fearful, so that the earth shook at the noise of the woman." So this is, if you're witnessing this, this is pretty scary, right? It's pretty intense. One minute she's a regular woman you're talking to, the next minute her face is shining, and she screams. She lets out this loud, scary ass scream to where the earth starts shaking. Hell yeah, you're gonna be, you're gonna be, you're gonna be like, what the hell? Verse 27, "And I looked, and behold, the woman appeared unto me no more. But there was a city builded, and a large place shewed itself from the foundations. Then was I afraid, and cried with a loud voice and said, so Ezra got shook when he saw this. He basically just saw a woman transform into a building, a big giant building, a city, you know? So he said he cried with a loud voice, where's the angel? Where is Uriel the angel who came to me at the first? For he hath caused me to fall into many trances, and my end is turned into corruption and my prayer to rebuke, because he was afraid. So he's like, yo, where's Uriel at? You know, he's the one who told me to come here. You know, it's his fault. Like, I'm bugging out right now because, you know, look, what the hell is going on? Right? Verse 29, it says, and as I was speaking these words, behold, he came unto me and looked upon me. And lo, I lay as one that had been dead, and mine understanding was taken from me. Because Ezra, at this point, he was messed up in the head because of what he just witnessed. It says, and he took me by the right hand and comforted me, and set me upon my feet, and said unto me, what aileth thee? And why art thou so disquieted? And why is thine understanding troubled, and the thoughts of thine heart? And I said, because thou hast forsaken me, and yet I did according to thy words. Right? You told me to come here, right? I came here, and you pretty much left me hanging. Like, what the hell is this? It says, and I went into the field, and lo, I have seen and yet see that I am not able to express. Meaning, I went to the field and I've seen things that I can't understand. What's going on? And he said unto me, stand up manfully, and I will advise thee. Then said I, speak on, my Lord. In me only forsake me not, lest I die frustrate of my hope. So, you know, all right, let me know what it is, you know, because else I'm gonna die frustrated because I'm messed up in the head right now, and what's going on? He wants an explanation. He wants answers. Verse 35, for I have seen that I knew not, and hear that I do not know. Because remember, these were revelations the Lord was given to Ezra. Now, if you notice, like in the book of Daniel and Daniel 7, Daniel 8, when you read through Daniel 2, if the first half is the vision, the record of what Daniel is seeing or what the prophet is seeing, then the second half is the angel explaining to him what does it mean. When you read in Daniel 8, the angel actually explains to Daniel what the ram with two horns means. When you read the whole chapter, the angel tells him these are the kings of the Medes and Persia, you know, and the king of Grecia, and this is the first king. The angel breaks it down to him. So that's what Uriel is getting ready to do. He's getting ready to explain to Ezra what he just saw. It says, verse 36, well, 35 again. For I have seen that I knew not, and hear that I do not know. Or is my sense deceived, or my soul in a dream? Right? What's going on? You know, I just saw something. I just saw a woman transform into a city. I don't understand what's going on here. Am I in a dream? Am I dreaming? Like, is this a dream? What's going on? You know, am my eyes deceiving me? Right? Did I not see that? Did I not hear that? Am I bugging? It says, now therefore I beseech thee that thou wilt shew thy servant of this vision. What does this mean? He answered me then and said, hear me, and I shall inform thee and tell thee wherefore thou art afraid. For the highest will reveal many secret things unto thee. He hath seen that thy way is right, for that thou sorrowest continually for thy people, and makest great lamentation for Zion. This therefore is the meaning of the vision which thou lately sawest. So the vision that you just saw, this is what it means. The woman, or thou sawest a woman mourning, and thou beganest to comfort her. But now seest thou the likeness of the woman no more, but there appeared unto thee a city builded. Right, the woman turned into a city. Right, you didn't see the woman anymore, and next thing you know, you saw a city. It says, and whereas she told thee of the death of her son, this is the solution. This woman whom thou sawest is Sion, right? That's Israel. And whereas she said unto thee, even she whom thou seest as a city builded. So the angel is saying here, this woman that you saw is Zion, right? Or Sion. And whereas she said unto thee, right? Even the same woman, the woman that you saw that turned into a building, that's the same woman I'm talking about here, right? So this woman whom thou sawest is Zion. And whereas she said unto thee, even she whom thou seest as a city builded, that same woman, whereas I say, she said unto thee, that she hath been 30 years barren. Those are the 30 years wherein there was no offering made in her. But after 30 years, but after 30 years, Solomon builded the city and offered offerings, and then bare the barren a son. And whereas she told thee she nourished him with labor, that was the dwelling in Jerusalem. Now, when you look up in the other translations, they'll tell you that the 30 years, they actually write it as 3,000 years, okay, where there was no offering made in her. So when and then other sources will tell you that it's just 30 years, right? A period of time from when David conquered Jerusalem to when Solomon built the first temple, where he made the offerings in there. Okay. Now when you when you look up in here, I looked up Solomon's temple and they have the dating for it. And this is according to Josephus. They said that, or he says that from Adam, right, the first man who was created, until Solomon built the temple, there had passed in all 3,102 years. Okay. So in essence, you got some sources that'll say that the 30 years wherein no offering was made in her was a period from Adam until Solomon built the temple, right? And they'll say that instead of 30, it's really 3,000 years. But then other sources might tell you that it's really just a period of time when after we conquered Jerusalem up until Solomon built the first temple. All in all, you can just understand it as the 30 years just represented the time before Solomon built that temple, as the angel said, right? Those are the 30 years wherein no offering was made in her. But after 30 years, Solomon builded the city and offered offerings, and then bare the barren a son. And what did Solomon do? He built the temple, right? The house of God. And then he made the offerings and so on and so forth in Jerusalem. So you can just think of the 30 years as the period of time before, right, Solomon came and did this. Whether from when we conquered Jerusalem or from Adam, that like I said, in other translations, they have it as 3,000 years. Here it's written as 30. So just know that it still either or represents the time period from before Solomon built the temple and we started offering sacrifices. All right. But once we started doing that, as the angel says, then bear the barren a son. So once we started offering those sacrifices, that's when the barren bare the son, right? Representing, now we were dwelling there. The presence of the Most High was dwelling there, and we were offering those sacrifices to the Lord. Because you had the morning oblation and the evening oblation. Okay. Now it mentions Solomon because we did offer offerings in Israel before the temple was built. Okay. But what was different was that when Solomon came on the scene, the Lord had it to where he built an actual temple dedicated to the Lord, a house, for the Lord, where we officially went to in Jerusalem to offer those sacrifices. Verse 47, it says, and whereas she told thee that she nourished him with labor, that was the dwelling in Jerusalem. It says, but whereas she said unto thee that my son coming into his marriage chamber happened to have a fail and died, this was the destruction that came to Jerusalem. Okay, so the woman representing Zion, her being barren 30 years represented the period of time when we hadn't built the temple and offered offerings there. And then her nourishing her son was us dwelling in Jerusalem. And then her son dying, or her losing her son, was when Jerusalem got destroyed, when the Babylonians came and destroyed it. So the woman that Ezra was talking to, it was symbolic. Okay, that's what the angel was going into right now. and everything she told him represented something. Okay, so that's what we're going into. So it says here, verse 49, and behold, thou sawest her likeness, and because she mourned for her son, thou beganest to comfort her. And of these things which have chanced, these are to be opened unto thee. So of the things that happened, it is revealed unto you. It says, for now the Most High seeth that thou art grieved unfeignedly, and sufferest from thy whole heart for her. So hath he shewed thee the brightness of her glory and the comeliness of her beauty. And therefore I bade thee remain in the field where no house was builded, because Uriel wanted Ezra to see this. He wanted Ezra to receive this vision. So in order for him to see this, he sent Ezra to that field. It says, verse 52, for I knew that the highest would shew this unto thee. Therefore I commanded thee to go into the field where no foundation of any building was. For in the place wherein the highest beginneth to shew his city, there can no man's building be able to stand. And therefore fear not, let not thine heart be affrighted, but go thy way in and see the beauty and greatness of the building, as much as thine eyes be able to see. And then shalt thou hear as much as thine ears may comprehend. For thou art blessed above many other, and art called with the highest, so are but few. Meaning, go into the city, right? The woman representing Israel transformed or disappeared, and then the city, manifested, which is also representing Israel. Go in there and look at the majesty and the glory of the city of the Lord, and listen to what you're going to hear in there, and look at what you're going to see in there. And this is being revealed unto you because you're blessed above many other, and you are called with the Most High, and so are but few. Meaning, there's only a few others that have this same privilege, or are blessed like you are. It says, but tomorrow at night thou shalt remain here, and so shall the highest shew thee visions. And verse 59 is also very important. 2nd Esdras 10 and 59 is a very key verse as well. Why? Because it says, so shall the highest shew thee visions of the high things, which the Most High will do unto them that dwell upon the earth in the last days. So I slept that night and another, like as he commanded me. Now, 2nd Esdras 10 comes before 2nd Esdras 13, 2nd Esdras 14, 2nd Esdras 15, 2nd Esdras 16, right? So the visions that were shewed to Ezra pertain to what? The things that would happen to them that dwell upon the earth in the last days. So how do we know that 2nd Esdras 15 is talking about this time? 2nd Esdras 16 is talking about this time. 2nd Esdras 13 is talking about this time. Because the visions that Ezra received were were of the things that would happen, right? That would befall them that dwell upon the earth in the last days. And we are in the last days now. You know what else it proves? It also proves reincarnation. Why? Let's take a look at what I mean by that. And I'll end it off with this. But when you go to 2nd Esdras, matter of fact, let me just type it in. Woe is me. I believe it's 2nd Esdras 16 and 17. Let's find that real quick. All right, Apocrypha. Cool. 2nd Esdras 16 and 17, right? Now, 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, is also a part of the visions that was shown to Ezra of what would happen in the last days, right? So now, why is Ezra saying, woe is me? Woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? What days is Ezra referring to? He's referring to the days of these visions, right? And we know that these visions are referring to when? The last days, right? These visions that Ezra received are what was going to be happening to the people who are living on the earth in the last days. So 2nd Esdras 16 is a part of those visions that would happen to those that were living on the earth in the last days, right? So if 2nd Esdras 16 is applying to those that will be living in the last days, Ezra, when he received this vision, wasn't in the last days. Okay, he was at least about 2,500 or so years before Yahushua came on the scene. So why is Ezra saying, woe is me, woe is me? Who will what? Who will deliver me in those days? Implying that Ezra would be alive in those days. But Ezra died. So how would he be alive in those days? There's only one way, which is through reincarnation. Ezra understood that he would be back on the earth in the last days when these visions will be fulfilled. And that's why he was afraid, saying, oh my goodness, shit, how am I going, who's going to deliver me when these things go down? All right. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah, I'm gonna end it there. That was 2nd Esdras, the 10th chapter. And Lord willing, it was edifying to the elect. I'm gonna try to go into, some more different breakdowns, 2nd Esdras 11, 12, so on, as the spirit permits, and yeah, like I said, Lord willing to be edifying, unto the elect. So the water for tuning in, the water for the precepts, the brother, I saw the brother Naquam, put one up. And in closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodesh. Until next time, Shalom.